In this video, we will learn how to analyze an item response report. For this video, you'll need an item response report you want to analyze, and as always, you'll need a copy of the test as well. If you don't have those in front of you right now, go ahead and pause the video, get the report and the test, and start it again when you're ready. As we talked about in our video on running an item response report, an item response report is a student-level look at how each student did on each question in the test, including the student's response to the question. This allows for not only in-depth analysis of student misconceptions, but also for differentiated grouping depending on the results on the test. As with the item analysis report, I have to mention that this is only one possible way to remediate based on this data. There are other plans of attack that you could take, other assumptions you could make about students, and you need to apply your knowledge of your students and your classroom to do its best for you. I can't claim that this will be the best way to plan out the remediation, but it's a pretty good one, so we'll go with what we've got. Now, the report I produced highlighted questions that less than 60% of the students answered correctly, so as before, I'll do a bit of triage and focus on just those questions. The first question falling under my threshold is number 1. When I look at the responses for that, I see that the class was split in half, with students 2, 4, 5, 7, and 10 answering correctly with B, and the rest answering incorrectly with A. When I look back at the test, I see that the answer for the second part of the question is the same for A and B, so it was the first part of the question that tripped students up. In each case, students knew to multiply 6 by 2.37, but half of them did not know how to write the rule accurately, and mistook the variable, the amount of time the snail traveled, and the coefficient, the rate at which the snail traveled. In this case, this has usually been a relatively easy fix to make, as I need to show the students that the rule in A does not work for other times that the snail has traveled. As for the small group remediation, since there's a 50-50 split in my class, I'm going to pair them up, with each pair having a student that got it right and a student that got it wrong. Their task will be to work through 5 similar problems together, with the student that got it right serving as tutor and the student that got it wrong serving as the explainer for the group. In total, I would give them about 10 to 13 minutes to finish solving the problems and completing short explanations on each. At the end of that amount of time, the student that got the original question wrong would be asked to explain their solution to the class, which would take another 5 minutes or so. In much the same fashion, I would attack the other questions I've identified as important and difficult for the students, and try to figure out why they answered what they did and what misconceptions they may have based on their answers. These strategies are very similar to the ones I used in the Analyzing Item Analysis Reports video, so I won't repeat them again here. Instead, I want to focus on what this report can tell me about individual students. Let's take a look at student number 3. This student had the lowest score on the test, and I may conclude that the student struggled more with the concepts on the test than any other student in the group. However, their data presents a more complicated story. The student left 5 multiple choice questions blank, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, and received no points on 21, 22, or 23. Suggesting that those may have been left blank as well, meaning that the student didn't finish a full third of the test. There are a few different explanations for this. Either the student really did struggle with the concepts of the test, which is possible given how they did on the first 2/3 of it, but maybe they felt rushed or there was something else going on that distracted them. The easiest way to find out is just to ask the student. 9 times out of 10, if you ask them without any other students eavesdropping, they'll be honest, and you'll know exactly what to do to help them, whether it's actual remediation or maybe a pacing strategy to help them out so that they better budget their limited time on the test. The item response report is easily the most powerful report for increasing student achievement, and when paired with the item analysis report, you get a strong look at what students understand and an excellent foundation for building a remediation and review strategy so that students are not left behind. I know that this is only a brief sketch of what the analysis for an item response report could look like, but the amount of information that can be pulled from a report like this is immense, and while I don't want to overload you for now, I also don't want to leave you with the impression that this is all you can do with this report. Please continue the conversation in the discussion board, and we'll talk about some more advanced analysis over there. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We're all in this together. Thanks for listening.